All right, what up? Welcome to Duole podcast. This is Stuart Anderson with just a short introduction before we hear from Chip. In Chip we trust. We're grateful for him as our fearless leader. And I can't believe it's taken us this many episodes to hear from him. But we're grateful for the time that me and Jake get to spend asking Chip all about his journey as a cyclist, journey as an athlete, and especially a journey as a type 1 diabetic. You've heard from Chip a couple times about diabetes and how he does endurance sports with it. And we dive a little bit into that challenge and how he embraces that challenge and how it makes him a better man and cyclist. So very cool to hear from Chip. We're grateful for him and thankful for his philosophy on leading the team and his philosophy on being an incredible servant leader. He is absolutely one of the best men. I work with him all day at our normal job, at the job that pays so we can run the team, and then we also get to ride together. So it's really fun. Most days we get to literally spend every minute together. So I'm grateful for Spence. I'm thankful for his example and his leadership and his friendship, and I know that many of you feel the same way. So hopefully this podcast is a bit of a tribute to him as a leader, as a friend, and as a cyclist that we can all admire and especially follow. So in Chip we trust, like I said, in his adventures, in his philosophy, and just as a man himself. So grateful to hear from Chip. This podcast is brought to you by our incredible Duole sponsors, specifically www.cyclingupgrades.com. We're grateful for Corby and his business, cyclingupgrades.com, and all they do to make this team better, especially when it comes to in the form of upgrading all that gear. I recently swapped out a huge group set for Kristen on her gravel bike, and it is wonderful. It was so easy to work with Corby, and I'm grateful for all the time and attention that he gave us, and especially for the awesome deal we got. I mean, it was so hard to find stuff right now, but cyclingupgrades.com made it possible for us to swap all these awesome components out on her gravel bike, and now she's riding, just crushing hills on this brand new group set. So thank you, Corby, and thanks to all the great sponsors who make Duole possible. All right, and finally, huge love to everybody that participated in Lakotas last week. Duole's just showed up. So many guys and gals participated in Lakotas, close to 50, one of our biggest years yet, and we had so many podiums. We're grateful for everybody that trained so hard, and especially who represented the team in that incredible Utah event. So big love to everybody that did Lakotas. I'm sure we'll hear more about it here in the coming weeks as we hear from some of those that participated. So big love to all those that did Lakotas, and that's it. All right. Enjoy this episode with Chip, and thanks so much. Bye. Okay. Welcome to the podcast. We're beginning. Grateful to have what appears to be just the normal group, but in fact, we are interviewing Chip today. Hi, Chip.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me.
Chip is the only one who completed Lakotas last week. Let's start there. How was that, Chip?
It was a great day in that we had a lot of guys and gals out. Windy, but good groups for drafting. If you're asking me overall, I had a great day and a great group and was real happy with everything. Yeah.
Jake, any remorse? Any heartfelt desire to be back?
I think it'll be a couple of years before I come back to the Lakotas scene. But no, it was fun to see all the pictures, kind of surface over the weekend. And congrats to all the podium people. I mean, Duole's really just showed up this last weekend. So
really did.
Super proud. But yeah, congrats to all the podium winners and all the people who participated this last weekend.
We even had some number ones. I mean, yeah. Ryan Welch, Jack Bourne, they're top step, baby.
So awesome.
The prolific Paul Watson on the podium again. I mean, the guy can't race and not be on there. So very good. Great.
So awesome.
Anything else current training status, Jake? How's that going for you? We're September 15th. Tapered up. Okay.
Hey, I'm just ready for Zwift. Let's start right now.
No.
No, that's a joke. Those who know me know I don't start Zwift till like January. So we're
Dude, you did have a really great ride though in Sun Valley.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, beautiful.
Good time.
One of Chip's favorites.
Good gravel up there, and yeah, it was fun. Stu, what about your training status right now, man? I mean, no Lakotas last weekend.
Yeah, no Lakotas. Great time to take a little rest. Really enjoy mountain biking with my kids. Sleeping in a little bit. It's just hard to get up right now and go outside. It's like a little too dark. I don't really like riding from 5:30 to 7:15, and it's not light at all the entire time. But
time of the year for sure.
Yeah, that's okay. Chip, ready?
I am ready. So ready.
Spence's lovely wife wrote a brief 3-paragraph introduction that I will use to introduce him, and we'll
Are
chime
you
in.
serious? 3 paragraphs?
We'll chime in if there's anything we want to add.
She must love me.
She does. She very, very much. Spence has grown up in Holladay most of his life, Holladay, Utah. He's been married to Joni for over 20 years, and they have 5 children. Is that true, Chip? 5?
I believe so.
Feels like 7, but it's 5. 3 girls, 2 boys. This is the fun part, ranging from a freshman in college all the way down to kindergarten. Very exciting. These kids are very active, and the Chipping family loves to be outside and work hard at their extracurricular activities. That is very true. After graduating from Olympus High School, Spencer went on to attend Salt Lake Community College and the University of Utah. Graduated from the U of U and then went to Westminster, where he received his MBA. I like this part. Spencer has always been driven. I agree. And whenever Spencer involves himself, he's all in. Right out of college in 2001, Spencer helped start Diamond Wireless, a Verizon Wireless reseller, and grew the business to 350 locations throughout the country. Good heavens. He's always had a deep passion for entrepreneurship. Tough word to spell, by the way. Spencer works with Stewart at the Crown Council and loves to work with the strategic partner. What about this? She's nailing it with the strategic partnerships of businesses throughout the country. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good description.
Joe is awesome. And she will be listening, I'm sure.
Yes, I'm sure. Living a healthy lifestyle and athletics has always been a big part of Spencer's life. At Olympus, he played basketball and soccer. Oh, I don't know if we need to put this in. Lost the semifinals every year.
Don't say that.
That's still a great accomplishment.
Right.
He went on to play soccer for 2 years in college. He also loves being outdoors, exploring the mountains, snowboarding and skiing in the winter. He loves to share his passion and interests with his children. He's a coach on the Olympus High School mountain bike team, as well as an assistant coach to his son's competitive soccer team. If he's not there, you'll find him cheering on his kids at ski competitions or dance performances. In 2003, Spencer started cycling. This quickly became his number one winter, spring, summer, or fall. He's got a bike for that. It's the truth. Riding with me, Duole, for almost 20 years. He's gained a great love for the team and the early morning challenges. Today, Spence helps manage the team and loves every minute of it. That is very true. Any additions there, Jake or Chip?
No,
that's well said.
We really nailed the background and history, Spence. Anything to add?
Frankly, no. That's awesome. And I would just add that I have an amazing wife, obviously, and kids that allow me to participate in all the great things that they do and that I love doing with them. And really, that's what it's all about for me and my family.
Maybe talk about for where you're all of a sudden in 2003, you're like, oh, here's a bike. Like how'd that happen?
I do remember this well. Yeah. I've always had a bike. I've always had a bike through high school, junior high school. I was in Colorado. I had taken my mountain bike and I had started just cruising on trails, but more so road trails out in Colorado. They just have these long paths that you can ride forever. And anyways, so the minute that I got home, we were doing some business transitioning over there, and I bought a road bike the second that I got home.
Lovely.
And was introduced to Duole at the time.
The rest is history.
Yeah.
I want to take it back just one step farther. about when one time you rode in Parley's Canyon as a teenager. Maybe you could share that story.
I don't know where you got that, but it's a true story.
I haven't heard this one. Let's hear this.
Here we go.
I have a friend named Rocky who had a house in Park City, and we just thought that it was the right thing to do to ride up Parley's, no helmets, on mountain bikes.
You were in high school?
Yeah, to Park City. Spent the night and had to ride home the next morning. His grandma was so concerned about us that she bought us helmets at a garage sale. One was a football helmet. One was more of a construction style helmet. We left those helmets at the McDonald's on the way down the freeway. We did have our fishing rods in the back of our backpacks as well.
Do we have any pictures of this?
Oh, I wish. So
that was my first time riding Parleys.
That is very fun.
Many times since.
I can only imagine you with an unbuckled football helmet, just cruising down past lambs.
Oh my gosh.
Nice. Hey, what about first connections with the team? How did that happen?
Yeah, there's an older team member even than James Ransom, Chris Peterson, onboarded me onto the team. And I used to just suffer up the easy, just up Mill Creek to hang on. And I just kept coming back, and I just kept showing up. So those were some tough mornings and good times.
You've got kits going all the way back though, right? I mean, you've saved a lot of team gear. Yeah.
Yes. The blue kit. Everyone needs to know I was appalled by the blue, white, and orange kit with
I think
flames.
we're gonna bring it back for the 40-year kit. Come on.
I was really distressed, and
I like the word appalled. That's way better.
At the time, one of our logos from our company was on the back of the kit, Verizon Wireless, black and red. And there was a mistake made. Volet sent one in red to Gino as kind of and I was like, do you get how cool this looks versus the blue? But the
blue was a product of the Barbacoa logo.
It is correct. Yep. Yeah. From 9th and 9th, when Barbacoa was blue and orange, it's since gone kind of black, white, and orange. But yes, that is right, Stu.
Jake, when was your first? How and when did you meet Chip?
Well, I was introduced to him like at our ward. We had just moved in to Lincoln Circle, and then that's first Sunday. I think I just met up with Andy Welch and introduced me to Chip, and kind of rest was history from there. But I kind of got some inklings because we moved in and kind of waited a year, sat a year on our house, and so I'd heard some inklings of this Spencer Chipping. Of he's a big cyclist, and he kind of rides with a group and things like that, and so. He was kind of one of my first contacts when we did really move in and go to the ward the first week. And I don't know how the interaction happened the very first, but I just know that it would happen that Sunday, and we kind of connected. Hey, you ride bikes, I ride bikes, and just kind of went on from there. So,
Chip, we knew each other. We grew up in the same neighborhood. We've been the same everything. You're a couple years older than me, but we would just always see each other out riding.
Yes.
I was always just alone. And then one day I was going to Hawaii, and Spence knew it. And he brought one of his appalling kits, and he dropped it off at my house. And I thought it was the coolest thing ever. Because at the time, when you're new to cycling, you're like, these are so expensive. Mm-hmm. And so for someone to gift me an entire outfit, I was like, how is it even possible? And I wore that to the top of the volcano the first time I rode it, and man, rest was history.
Yes, that's a great story.
It's really fun to share that kit with me.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a lot of ways we can go here, but I want to talk and make sure we have enough time. When Chip was an older man, I don't even know what to call you, an older man, he was diagnosed with type 1. And we've done a few podcasts on that when we met with Lakota. But maybe share that story, Spence.
Yeah, for sure. Was always definitely in tune with my body. And when I say that, I think everyone listening gets that. If you are experiencing a little more weight loss or a little, you're drinking more, you're thirsty more, you're blurred vision, etc. I had returned. I had been in Brazil for a couple of years. I came home, was right back into the flow of playing college soccer again. And shortly after that was like, something's going on. And it was really quick that we were able to determine that it was type 1. Yeah. Changed life forever.
And most would say being an endurance athlete with type 1 is absolutely ridiculous. So how did you make this decision to be like, not ridiculous, we're going to go forward?
So there are times, I'll be honest, when I toe the line of a Leadville or a Lakotas that I know that is in between 9 and 10 hours, I say to myself, this has got to be the dumbest thing that you are into to be messing with calculating your sugars during this time frame, because odds are against you in a lot of ways. And however, here is the alternative is that as a type 1 stays healthy and active, blood sugars are actually a lot easier to control than the alternative. So I found that right off the bat, and have just without question, I will always maintain that active lifestyle in order to maintain perfect numbers as a type 1.
Yeah. I often not joke around, but say to our competitors sometimes, you might be nervous about not finishing, or I don't know, getting an upset tummy. I'm like, Chip is balancing the line of like dying.
Yeah.
And I think it really is incredible. Like, I don't know how you think of it, but Jake and I are I'm overwhelmed sometimes when I watch you do it, when I watch you manage it. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's incredible. I guess it's just a lot of opportunities for excuses that you don't give.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, I think everybody has that opportunity or something they could lean on for that. But, you just find a way to make it work, and it works. And there's been times where you guys have been nice enough to chill for a minute while I down a quick peanut roll, a large one.
Nut roll.
But then back on our way, and it is able to be corrected. But also from the educational side of how we are all what we are all interested in, it has provided next level education. This Lakotas just recent was the first time I was able to sync what my blood sugar is at this little tab that I shoot into my butt, actually into my side, is able to upload to Garmin. And so on the Garmin device, to be able to view blood or glucose levels is like kind of a game changer. And just like, it becomes like more than just cycling. You're learning about your body. And I love that. I've always really liked that. So
Chip, at what point do you feel your body? I mean, just for educational purposes. I mean, at what point do you feel like a Lakotas, for example? Is it hour 3? Is it hour 4? Is it hour 7? I mean, kind of walk us through like a Lakotas. How do you deal with this type 1 during Lakotas?
This is the best question, because I say to everyone that is like, hey, you've got point to point coming up, or Lakotas or Leadville. Those would be like 3 between 9 and 10 hour days for me. And the answer to that question is anything that is like 4.5 hours is just like, I'm way stronger on the front end than I am on the back end of any race that is like 8 or 9 hours. Right. So, when I get to about hour 5, or 6 or so, when the body just continues to burn the glucose, the sugar, and you can't put enough in, and your numbers are going low, is when it becomes difficult and your body doesn't perform at what you wish it would, until you get your sugars back up. And so sometimes that takes a sit down on a bench in a point-to-point race, or, to give it, and you don't feel like great right after, but it just takes some time. So, but I also like that challenge. Like, I know it would be a way better idea for me to do like, at the max 100-mile road races, or like Crusher is like a perfect amount of time. Like, that's perfect. Point to point Leadville are like, they are doozies, but it still can be done.
It's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I've even heard you say, honey stinger that just sits in your mouth, like slowly disintegrating, as to hopefully not upset your stomach. Or, I mean, the things that you've learned over the years really are, like, it's great. It's cool to watch. I mean, it's an awesome study. Do you feel, last question, do you feel like it's like, do you ever act or think to yourself, oh, I just, this limits me? Is that ever frustrating for you?
No, because I feel like I almost have, because of the technology of what I was just kind of outlining, I should be prepared enough or well trained enough to have it dialed in enough that it shouldn't affect me. But sometimes there's just curveballs in type 1. They just are going to have, and I have to be okay with that, but I don't let it frustrate me.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very good. So cool, man.
Yeah. Just another challenge.
A couple of Christmases ago, Kristen purchased for you, or designed for you, Chip's Adventures. Kind of a spoof on you running your own adventure company. And that was the idea behind this, fat bike, mountain bike, gravel bike, TT bike, beach cruiser, road bike. So it's kind of a fun thing. And if you know anything about Spence, he's prolific in his events. So point to point, all road, Lakotas, Crusher, Ultimate Challenge, Leadville. Hopefully one day Unbound. But I mean, like, it is like, you love the adventure and the community of biking. Maybe talk about that for a sec, like where that comes from and why that's a passion.
Man, I would have to say that cycling and endurance athletes probably have something all in common, and that is doing something hard, something different, something out of the ordinary, something during a time of year that others maybe wouldn't do it, or take a bike where bikes have not gone before. Trail runners would feel the same about running that area. I am intrigued by doing things on a bike that are not typical. And so I love to blaze new trails that are not typical, or I should say on the bike that would maybe not be recommended for that route. But what we have seen in like the last 5 years, so I'll just use one example. I think that with like gravel bikes, in getting us to the trails faster, but still having the capability to climb what a mountain bike climbs and then get home faster, has opened in the last 5 years. Just, and all of us know this because you've been on there with me, just an incredible menu of choices to take our bikes on adventures. And that is what is thrilling to me on a bike. So then I would expand on that though, Stu. When the canyon is completely quiet and closed in the winter and you get onto the fat bike, it's like, could there be anything better than this? It is as good as it gets. I enjoy sharing that with others, and we have had a good time experiencing it all together, I guess.
Yeah. Is there a certain event or trail or adventure that stands out?
Yeah, I would say when we started riding, I'll never forget, I'll go to that one. When I thought that we could ride a gravel bike from Immigration and finish coming down Big Cottonwood Canyon, but going straight over the mountain ranges, which would include first Emmy, then up Lambs and across the dirt, down Mill Creek, up Mill Creek, down the dirt into Big Cottonwood, all on a gravel bike. That was and we took a swim inside of Dog Lake before descending. So when we did that, it was like, is there anything that is not
I have
possible?
that picture. I have that picture. I'm not going to show it though.
That's okay. That is so fun. Just that's my type of a fun ride. I like to be able to get the fitness out of it, but just enjoy it. I do have a hard time with if it was to be like monotonous of like a same ride over, and I really like it to be mixed up a little bit, because that's how we all get better on different bikes, on different trails, etc.
But that's the Chip adventure. I mean, that's what it's all about.
That's the adventure. It's likely that something funky is going to happen during one of my hosted rides. It's likely.
Yep.
So last year, I think you did all road, then point to point, then Lakotas. Like they were all one Saturday after the next.
Yeah,
right?
All road,
all road,
point, Lakotas. 3 weeks in a row. Yes.
Yeah, and then you did Belgian Waffle in Cedar City.
Yes.
You were one of the first to ever do the Ultimate Challenge when you've told that story before. The Ultimate
300 Warriors is what it was called.
Warrior. Yeah, you have that medal in your garage. I've seen.
Yes.
We did Leadville this year.
Yes.
What is it that draws you to love events so much?
Again, some of these, it's been really cool for all of us listening to see the new events come out. Like Belgian Waffle, of course, was new to Southern Utah. Then Grodeo comes along and it's like, whoa, that's a new one. And dang, that is a hard freaking ride. And as the new ones come out, All Road was like, are you kidding me? What is this Wasatch Wall? Let's go check it out. And so to accomplish the new ones, I think is really fun. And I just enjoy the staples, the staple of Lakotas, because that is our team event and I love being with the team. But I would definitely get bored if Lakotas was the only opportunity out there to ride in some fun events. Yeah.
Nice. I think it's a good point though to make is, at least from my perspective, we always talk about Lakotas being the race of the year and things like that, but I think Chip is the epitome of showing that there's so many other great adventures or races that, you can go and sign up for and have fun, and enjoy, the company and enjoy the scenery and the rides. And so, that's one thing I've taken away just from watching Chip over the years is just, man, Chip, what races are you doing this year? So I can see what kind of different adventures you're going to go on or what kind of your training status is going to be. But you got me to do Crusher this year. I had signed up for Grodeo. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do it, but it's conversations like that kind of, Lakotas is great and all, and that's a fantastic race at the end of the year. But Chip is, if he hasn't proved anything, he's proved there's many other cool races out there to do and to accomplish,
Man, I agree. And I will put a plug in as we are on doing the abnormal. Starting this Saturday is Cross. And it's last year, if you were to ask me what was your favorite part, it wasn't pulling the sticky pads off my butt that I had prepared to going into point to point and Lakotas because they were so sore and I had to put some creams on there. It was the cross season in the fall, every Saturday, 45-minute grinds. There's a fat tire crit race that is co-hosted with the Sugar House Crit. Those are like those are fun. So cross racing I'm really stoked for this fall.
That was the first time you'd ever done it, right?
Yes. The fat bike crit or cross?
No, cross.
Cross last year. Yeah.
Didn't you get Matt Ryder to do it too with you?
Andy Welch
is my sidekick. Yes.
Yeah. Very good. Chip, before we move into, I want to talk about why Duole. So why we run it. Are there any mentors that have kind of guided you along this road?
So Stu, are you specific to cycling?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Anybody you look to, or you're just like, dang, I couldn't have done it without them, or?
Yeah, I would say you guys for one. I mean, when we meet at 5:25 a.m. at the stop sign, and then with the rest of everyone at the mouth of a canyon at 6 a.m. I mean, I feel like a school boy on the first day of school, most mornings that I am putting my bibs on. I'm pretty stoked about the next day of riding. And so from a mentorship, we have like some greats inside of Duole from a cycling perspective. And the common theme that we hear on these podcasts from all the greats are just that cycling is likely number 5 on our list when it comes down to everything. And so, really, I look to our team members that all share that same feeling.
Nice. Very cool. Maybe we could transition for a little bit about how did you start managing the team, and maybe the history behind that, how you started to serve in your role.
Yeah.
Can we do that? Yeah.
Let's do that.
Okay.
So Gino and Chris Peterson's, and that's good to just follow up on from a mentorship perspective. I mean, I spent many hours on the bike with Chris Peterson starting out, and Gino as well. And I guess I would just say that as they began to say, hey, it's time for new blood to start to run the team and to take over everything that we are doing, we're slowly phasing out, that I was so interested in that because I loved the camaraderie of the team, and we did not have what we have or who we have today. Even the 7 to 10 guys that I rode with regularly, I loved that so much that I was like, hey, Chris, Gino, I need you to know that I am ready, willing, and able to manage anything Duole. And at the time, we had just tapped Stu on the shoulder, who, like he mentioned with his ride up Holladay and his new kit, was starting to ride with me as well. And you can also see just as much interest in Stu. We could see that Stu had just as much interest. And so together, I would say we were able to say, hey, there is a next level within Duole that we would like to take it to. Allow us to do that. And from there, I'll pause there. But from that point was when we reached out to Duole and started to suggest, hey, we are introducing ourselves as the ones that are now moving forward with the team. And then I'll pause there, but yeah.
Good. Maybe explain what you do, like what,
Yeah,
for the team.
for sure.
I mean, just like, I don't know if you want to like give a list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
I mean, the relationships that I work with within Duole, everyone is familiar with Ventum. I do a lot with Ventum, a little bit with Specialized, a lot with Mercury Wheels, a lot with Hangar 15. And so from
Barbacoa.
a lot with Barbacoa, that has been a long time relationship.
Yeah.
So a lot of these strategic partnerships, and now let me kind of say what it has transitioned to now with the Five Canyons ride event that we are taking over. I will have a large part in that. We've been on their board for the last while. And so that's going to be a big to do on the team as well.
Yeah,
so
big time.
Working with Stu and Duole a lot. And I think that what it becomes most important though, are the community opportunities, like this Five Canyons event that we will I feel like we will take that to the next level as well. And I like that many of our team members are involved in coaching on the high school mountain bike teams. I think that the Duole members are planting those or being those mentors, just like we had to these kids. It's so cool to see. And then what I love to see even more is when you're seeing our young kids wearing a Duole kit out climbing Immigration or City Creek in these tiny little bodies. And you're just like, dude, that's what it's all about, and I love to see that.
Yeah. I would say that many would ask me and you, like, why the time, there's kind of some, everybody can claim in this day and age, like, I'm too busy, there's so much, I'm so busy. Why would you cut time out of your busy life to lead or be involved with the team? What is the point? What's the purpose?
So I have a few answers for that. I would lead by saying a mentor once told me that you can rest when you die. And my life is
that guy dead? Is he dead?
No. And I am going to I live my life for sure to the fullest, being involved in a lot of things. Perhaps overextended. Someone else will have to be the judge of that. But what I gain from being involved in these venues, and specifically to Duole, I gain way more than the time that I'm putting in to it. I gain friendships. I gain mentors. I gain business relationships. We gain all of these community outreaches. When you saw what we were able to do at the Flower Power launch, and now you see that continuing to grow within our local community and doing good. That's why I am willing to put in, because I get far more out.
Nice. It's awesome. Jake, any follow up there?
No, I think when I think of Chip, I just think about relationships. I think Chip is so good with just relationships on any level, right? Whether it's young kids, I mean, look at him on the mountain bike team, to a lot of the OGs, right? The Chris Petersons, the Dave Sharps, all those guys. I mean, Chip handles the full spectrum here, and a bunch of different people. And I think Chip is the epitome of just managing relationships. And I think that's what I've seen is kind of coming into this small group here is, Chip is so good with just managing the relationships on people, the different attitudes, the different backgrounds, the different walks of life and things like that. And so, it really is such a unique characteristic about Chip. I mean, he's just so good with people and able to help them understand their feelings and, navigate and just wants to be a part of their lives. And so, it just speaks volumes of who Chip is. But that's the one thing I think about Chip and, doing this with this team is just, he's just able to handle all the relationships and manage those things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. That's a compliment for sure. And there are a lot of, I think the team does have a lot of different relationships to be handled, or just the way that we go about cycling, like Jake is mentioning. So
For sure.
yeah.
Before we move on to advice, which I want you to give, we're going to talk about Chip's favorite day, which is July 4th. Every year he dresses up like Abe Lincoln and we ride our Madsen bikes over to the Mill Creek 4th of July parade. Tell me why this day is so special for you.
Oh man. And you just said that without even pausing. Like it was just
I will say too, I will throw in there Halloween because Chip has
he does.
Halloween costume.
He does. I mean, I think we can categorize this as like just in another adventure, just in a different way. But 4th of July, really, I mean, it'll be May 3rd, May 4th, and all of a sudden you get a little text. It's like 4th of July is coming, everybody. Like, get ready.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, why?
Well, at least let me start by saying I hope that I share the same feeling of the 4th of July with everyone else listening. Mm-hmm. Just
Good
for
point.
The fact of
good point. It's 4th of July
of celebrating our country, but
maybe just paint the picture of what happens on the 4th.
All right. Okay. All right. I am excited to put about 8 to 10 flags on my front lawn. And start the day, because if I could create, it's a day off work, right? And so you're thinking, if I could build the greatest day ever, what would it look like? And so in my mind, I think this. We head up Mill Creek Canyon in the morning at 5:20, and you're not in a huge hurry to get home because it's summer. So we come home. Yeah. And, there's a group pick in front of these flying flags at 7:30 a.m. You change quickly, but only to get onto a different bike, which is just so fun. And this particular bike, there's different bikes that show up, and I love the most unique bikes, anything on wheels. I love it. And as everyone comes and meets at my house before about 8 a.m. And you need to dress patriotic. I have selected Abe Lincoln to be who I dress up as each year because I love the tall hat on the Madsen bucket bike with my kids in the back throwing candy as we roll over to the parade. But what I love even more than that is there are like 15 of me, and those are all of our closest friends following behind. And then I would be wrong to leave out, but Todd now comes the day before in a train that actually
that he built
blows smoke along 20th as we ride over to the parade, and we go down the 4th of July Mill Creek parade all on our bikes dressed up. You come home, celebrate with everybody eating, and I just think that is a riot. So
and there was just like 4 or 5 of us at the beginning of the first couple of years, right? And now it's like this huge train of folks with their Madsens, and now with Todd with this big old train. Yeah, so cool.
It's the best. There's a speaker. One of you two generally has a speaker going, and it gets a lot of head turns. It stops traffic right on 2030s. They won't even go when we are rolling through it. It's so fun.
I think 2023 is the year. We've always toyed with the idea of matching. Everyone in the group has a matching T-shirt, some sort of Duole.
Yeah.
I think we got to do it.
Duole themed, something themed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Okay. Yeah, so this,
we are big enough. We are big enough now to like enter the parade with a theme.
Yeah. Like a float.
Yes.
Okay.
So maybe start building a float, Todd.
Yeah, this is our Todd. This is our another pause action item for 2023. Make sure that if you want details for the 4th of July parade, this is going to be the best year yet. So,
hey, and if you're really wanting another look at Chip, just come around our neighborhood around the 31st of October of Halloween. You'll either see a Spider-Man walking or run around on a
headless horseman,
on a bike, or a headless horseman. You name it. Something's good.
So good.
That was the headless bikeman.
That was so good, dude.
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna wrap up, but before we do, Spence, very wise. He will shake his head. He's not, but has so much experience with so many different opportunities, whether it's teaching kids or mentoring his own kids or balancing life. Maybe we could start there, Spence. How do you balance it all? Because I think you do a great job.
Yeah. Oh man. And sometimes I would guess that everyone that hears that question would say, I am not doing it well, because you feel like you're either behind or dropping a ball somewhere. But I feel strongly that our community, and everywhere, I'm just only able to affect my own community as much as I'd like to affect more, but needs people like us to influence those around us to do good. And specifically, all of us are raising kids and spending time with them. And from a juggling standpoint, I think that it's just super important to put have your priorities in check. And that's how I would answer that, Stu, as far as balancing would just be to be confident that you have your priorities right.
Nice. You're the one that taught us when to ride. Maybe share your philosophy on when we ride and why.
Well, I kind of joined just oh my gosh, we leave. I mean, there are times everybody knows when we leave at 4:45 a.m. And in my house, I get home most of the time before my family is waking up. And so those are considered kind of my free hours of the day. And that is why I ride so early in the morning, is because I'm not taken away from everything else that needs to be done at home or work.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes you just go right from riding right into mowing the lawn. It just transitions right. You're right into the bibs are still on. You just change shoes.
Yeah, this is true. There's nothing worse than showering and then getting lawn all over you. Yeah, so but I agree. Yes.
Especially when your legs are covered in like Muscle MX and you just have grass shards just stuck to your thighs.
I agree. Yep. I totally agree.
Maybe advice, youngsters, young guys on the team. We've got some dudes that are, they don't even have babies yet. What advice would you give to that group on how to train well? I only say that because the standard here is, well, maybe 100 miles a week is enough. And then you see guys going 200 miles a week and you're like, maybe I got to do 200. And then you see, dude, guys are doing 300 miles a week. Maybe that's the, what have you learned over the years, Spence, about how to be good at this sport?
Yeah. Again, it comes down to priorities. And the second that work or family or other more responsible duties are suffering due to time on the bike, it's too much time on the bike. And for me, and I'm speaking for myself, and I know I'm speaking for a lot of people on the team, but the bike is an outlet to our everyday lives. And so the bike is used for us to be stress-free for a moment, to connect with our friends for a minute, to enjoy nature while we are out. But none of us are depending on what we do on the bike to pay for our mortgage. So I would suggest that the time on the bike is viewed as those as such. So
nice.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Jake, any follow up there?
No, I think that's great perspective, Chip. I mean, I think, out of anybody, you've got the best perspective. And I think that's just, you hit it on the head there. I mean, we ride bikes in the morning, because we like to be with each other, and it's time to kind of check out a little bit and to be ourselves. And, it's not paying the bills. It's not, putting food on the table and things of that nature. But, I think it's great perspective, Chip. And I think it's very, very wise words for, new people who are joining the team, or just new people in cycling in general. I think it's great perspective and great and wise words.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks.
Spence, what about I don't want to be silly here, but when are you the best? When are you just a beast on the bike? What's happening? I'm talking like training advice. And you're like, okay, on Mondays, I'm doing the soft ME. On Tuesday, I'm doing like, when are you best?
Last year, I felt like cross racing was at my best. And here is why. 45 minutes, I don't have to worry about sugar. I can go full gas for 45 minutes. I know that I'm always strongest in the first half of any, right? Then I'm not like a diesel that like gets stronger over time. I'm more of out of the gates type of a person, which makes me question why I do some of the events that I do. But yeah, that would be my answer. It would likely be on dirt, 1 hour to 2 hours long. And I love the cross bike.
Yeah. Nice. Very good. What about your favorite, like when we go ride, what's your favorite training? Is there a favorite that you, when out goes the text and you're like, oh baby, lambs or PC loot? Is there something that you're just like, oh yeah?
I'm going to say something that I didn't know that I would ever say. And that's because all of us train new ways each year. But as I was getting ready for Leadville this year and kind of psyched out about this elevation gain that you gain out there, and you top out at 13,000 feet up as while you're racing Leadville. I spent a lot of time this summer up Little Cottonwood and Big Cottonwood, days in a row, like hours up there riding back and forth crest and and up and down Snowbird from our house a few times. So those cold mountain mornings on the dirt, like it's hard to beat when there's not many people around and you're on a trail and we have fresh flowers in the mountains. And that's pretty tough to beat here in the Wasatch. Yeah.
Nice,
for
dude.
sure.
All right. Final question for me, Jake. Maybe you've got any one to follow up, but here's my final question. If you were going to give one piece of advice to the team, so you're standing on the soapbox and this is your final moment, anything come to mind that you'd be like, here's my piece of wisdom to make sure that the team stays strong and stays together and Duole lasts for whatever. I mean, what would you say?
It's kind of in that same vein, but I would say that the development of young kids is a passion of mine, and they're counting on us as role models. And so are the younger members of our team and those that will eventually be on Duole. So the development and the time that we spend with our kids in the youth groups, in the teams that you're coaching, makes such a major impact on the future of everything, of our team, of our state, country, and world, and our environment. So that would be the one area that I would recommend focusing time on, is developing the youth.
Nice.
Yeah.
Jake, any final questions for Chip?
My final question to you, Chip, would be, we've had a lot of these younger kids or younger people join the team, and maybe even some that are, wanting to join the team. What's a piece of advice that you would give them, now being a seasoned person and, again, managing all these relationships? What is
don't wear dirty bibs
piece of advice that you would give them?
Oh man, I would just say, come and be with us, and I don't think it's, I don't think that it should intimidate anybody. And in fact, man, the younger ones are some of the strongest ones. So I think that this is what I'll say. It's not about the ride. It's not about the bike. And Stu and I talk about that in our business, but it is about the community that you are a part of within Duole, and what we can do together as a group and in our community, and for all those that we want to help, and all the help that is provided to our teammates in this team is a big deal. And so if you're coming on board now, just know that that's kind of key priority or top of the Duole list. That's in our culture book here for Duole.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, Spence. Thanks,
guys.
What's going on for 2023? Any big plans? What do you think?
Man, I'm
too
up
early to start thinking about that.
No, I am going to throw out this race up in Whitefish, Montana, gravel, that I would love to have some company.
When is it?
I think it's in June.
June.
Yeah.
What about Unbound? Are we going to go Unbound 2020?
I would do, man. Can we get into Unbound? Like, I would love to.
So there's 4,000 that get in the lottery, dude. But it is hard. That is nutty, and it's right. Emporia, Kansas. We're talking a 16-hour drive. It would have to be like that is what we're doing this year.
Yeah,
yeah. That was like it, and I think it happens like early June.
Yeah.
So anyway,
we love you, Chip.
All righty,
guys. That was fun.
Thank you, Chip. I don't know what to call this podcast. In Chip We Trust. I think that's going to be it.
Abe Lincoln. Abe Lincoln.
I was gonna do I'll rest when I die. Maybe that's a good one.
That's right.
All right, boys. Thanks so much.
Yep.
Okay.
See you later.